Hi everyone, it's Nicole for Simon Says Stamp, and today we're going to create a shortcut layered backgrounds card with the October 2024 card kit called Two-Step Simple Leaves. The shortcut today is this beautiful rice paper included in the kit. It's a pack of 5 and they are just gorgeous, but you can see all the wonderful layering that is in these papers, which instantly provides beautiful backgrounds without the extra inking and stamping and all of the things. So I am going to take a couple of the papers and we're going to start by cutting them down. I need a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch background of one of them to use as the background of my card. And then I'm going to choose one of the other papers, or kind of pick and choose really, from this and another one of the designs for the backgrounds of my tags. So I love this one. That's what's going to be the background of my card. I have a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece of smooth white cardstock, and I am going to put a little glue on it, and I am just smoothing it out with my finger. If you had some like Ranger multi-matte medium or something like that, you could apply with a brush. I could not find mine, full disclosure. So that would have worked really well too. Then I'm just going to smooth this out, and this is going to give my background a much more substantial base. As you can see, it looks like it might slightly be off from my 4 1/4 by 5.5, but I'll just trim that down here in a little bit. Anywhere along the edge that it is not secure, I'm going to put a little bit more glue and smooth that down. Now I am going to take an A2 nesting die. This is from a die set from Simon Says Stamp. It's the second largest. And from the dark chocolate cardstock included in the kit, we're going to die cut a frame to glue on top of this. Then we're going to take a couple of pieces from the other rice paper, or another rice paper, I should say, and the one we just used. And I'm going to just cut a little bit of each of those, just big enough to work for this noted tag from Simon Says Stamp. It's a really wonderful basic tag die. And I have another piece of smooth white cardstock here that I'm going to attach this to, and then I'm going to die cut. And you can see I left the other side of this piece of cardstock empty for now, because we are going to use that piece of rice paper next to me to die cut another tag. So this one has that grungy text, all of that good stuff, the little grid, florals, splatters, all of the good things. And that tag is going to go right on top. Now you can see it kind of blends into the background. So this will require just a little bit of inking, but it is worth it. We have cut out so much time, like the watercoloring type look background and all of the grunginess. So now that I have my 2 tags, I am going to take the tag that's going to be on the front. I'm going to make a little collage where one of the tags is on front of the other one. So the other one's basically just peeking out. And on the one that will be on the top, I want to stamp the noted little tag design with the grids on it right over that. So I am using some Distress archival ink in Vintage Photo here. And I stamped it a couple times. I kept missing a couple of areas, but I wanted the impression to be really nice. And then around the edges of the design, we're going to take Vintage Photo Distress ink and we're going to rub that around the edges with a blending brush. And I'm doing this on the Simon Says Stamp glass mat to keep my work surface nice and tidy and clean. Oh, that looks so good. And you can see that you can ink really easily over that rice paper. We're also going to ink around the edges of the second tag to add just a little bit more depth and dimension so that it stands out from the background. And then we're going to layer these 2 tags together just like this. To keep it consistent, I'm also going around the edges of our A2 background panel with the same vintage photo ink, but we're going to try to keep that ink right around the edges and not pull it too far in. I also noticed a couple places that I didn't get my rice paper glued down very well, so we are going to fix that while we're here too. Now we're going to pull in our frame. We're going to use a little liquid glue on the back, and we're going to glue that in place and pop our tags down right on top. So let's grab a thin line glue. I'll use the glue press today, and we're going to just run that bead of glue all the way around the perimeter and then glue this down. That instantly adds a little bit of added interest to the card, provides a wonderful frame, and then we can tuck whatever we like inside. Even if we wanted to use some of the two-step simple leaves only, that would look so beautiful. Using another scrap of the rice paper, I did glue that to a scrap of white paper, and I am stamping several of the leaves from the two-step simple leaves right onto that paper. I started with artichoke ink. I'm going to add a little kale ink, and I'm even going to add in a little mist on top. Then we're going to take the two-step simple leaves stencil and add a little bit of the brown to it with the vintage photo so that it matches the rest of the design. Now, while I did stamp 3 of the leaves here, I did only end up using 2 of them in the finished card. I did try to keep that mostly to the area that was free of a lot of the distress and stuff, although I think it would have been fine if I'd had a little bit of the text in there. So here I'm using the coordinating stencil, which is phenomenal, to add in that little bit of layering and distress. And this really helps make the leaves match the rest of the card design. Oh, I guess I hadn't glued it down yet. So now I'm actually gluing it down. That's going to make it much, much easier to run through my die cut machine. Grabbing the coordinating dies, we're going to tape those in place and run it through. So here are my leaves, and it's time to pull it all together. Now, my original thought was to put my 3 leaves kind of down the tag as I showed there, but then I thought that really is kind of covering up the entire tag, and it's a little too much. So we're not going to do that. I'm going to take the 2 that I think I want to use together, and now we're going to add the veining to the leaves with the two-step simple leaves stamp. We're simply going to stamp that outline shape, and we're going to layer those and pop them up with foam adhesive right in the center of the top tag. I also want to choose a sentiment. I love how the sentiments are these small little sentiments from the two-step simple leaves, and we're going to use heartfelt thanks today. Placing foam on the back of my tags, we're going to position those right in the center of that top tag, and I love the way this looks. That allows for the grungy text and all of that great distress of the rice paper to really shine. We're going to place some foam squares on the back of our layered tags as well to pop them up from the background. I want the tag on the top to be more centered than the one in the background. I want it to kind of obviously be skewed just a little bit. Through the top of my tag, I have some of this wonderful sage ribbon, and I'm going to thread it through, kind of do the loop method, and then I'm going to knot the ends of this ribbon and let them dangle. We're going to trim that a little bit. I purposely left them long so I'd have a little play. I want them to naturally drape down the side. Okay, that looks good. So now we're going to take our foam adhesive backing off and pop this up. Couldn't be any simpler, which I absolutely love. We're going to kind of get that positioned, and there we go. That looks fantastic. Next, I'm going to use that scrap of paper the rice paper on the white cardstock that I used to stamp and die cut my leaves, and we are going to stamp our sentiment. And I am going to use ground espresso archival ink for this. I'd stamped it a few times. Well, first I did try stamping it with an acrylic block, and I didn't love the results. They were a little too light. And then you can see the really dark one. That one I stamped too many times, and I felt like the ink bled a little bit. So fourth time is the charm here. And then I used the coordinating die to die cut the heartfelt thanks. I played around with placement, but ultimately I think it looks best right over the top of those beautiful grungy green leaves. Using a little additional foam squares, we're going to place those on the back and center that right there in the middle of our tag, in the middle of the leaves, and I think it looks fantastic. Okay, we are almost done putting this together. The final thing we want to do is add some little dabs of glue and take the Pastel Tones Positively Dazzling gems, also included in the kit, and scatter those about our design. So from the kit today, we have used the rice paper, dark chocolate cardstock, gems, stamp set. We use the coordinating dies for this set that are an add-on purchase, plus we used the stencil. So many wonderful elements included in this kit to make absolutely stunning cards. Now I did try to stick to some of the more yellow tone as I felt like that really matched my design. I'll glue this to a white top fold card base, and our card is all finished. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this simple shortcut layered backgrounds card. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube for your convenience. Thanks for watching.
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysstamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.